Hey guys, I'm back to another What If here. Today we're doing What If I Was Sent into the Naruto World Part 2, and I really thought I wouldn't be doing a Part 2 to this ever again, due to the pretty much video space shows that was some other What Ifs that obviously have thousands of views. I'm almost guaranteed to have another part to it, or parts. I really solidly thought none of you really would want another part to this, but to my surprise, you guys did, so kind of here it is. So I was going to stick with what I had said in Monday's What If. I think either at the start or the ending of the What If, somewhere, either end of the What If, I'd stated that I would be recording today would be what if Naruto was in Armbu, or a variant of that. But instead my mind had come up at that time I'd come up with one kind of solid what if, though now I've come up with two, and I've went, well, what one do I choose? So instead of doing a poll and then waiting a couple minutes, then kind of fully fledged it out, I'm gonna ask you guys here and now. And so yes, which what if do you guys want? Well, what ones? Which is, well, the first one is Naruto would, well, they both pretty much start with Naruto somewhat joining Armbu at 5, though there's a 1 year training period because of Naruto being somewhat young. So during that 1 year training period, it would be somewhat known as Fox, though also when Naruto turned 4, he was and I trained Naruto, and both times when Naruto turned 5 to start Armbu, or to start Armbu training, Hughes and I told him that obviously that, well, I'd kind of had asked I'd told Naruto to somewhat start, or well, to join Armbu, but as a girl. In one of them, Naruto's not so much exactly happy with being a female, whereas the other, he doesn't exactly care. He doesn't think it would really matter much. Anyway, though, he would somewhat continue, obviously, and then at the age of 12, the first one, he would end up, well, Husen would tell him that 2 Genins, of course, had passed, but, well, there's Team 7 has got 2 Genins, but it needs a third one, and not go, I'm not gonna believe Anbu Hokage-sama just to be put on a Genin team. Husen would go, well, how about your male counterpart Naruto, or Kitsune now was, would go, what do you mean, Hokage-sama? Well, you know, your actual true birth gender, male self. We just straight up made him vanish at the age of 7. And yeah, thus Naruto would end up, say, joining somewhat Team 7. Like male self, though, his female self that he'd been living as for 6, 7-ish. Well, 7, though, due to the training period of 1 year, it'd be, well, yeah, he'd live as his female self for, without ever being in his male body for, well, yeah, 7 years, pretty much. 7 years. And, well, 6, 7-ish years. Which both would do, though the second one is where Husen somewhat either decides to put another, like, either, say, like, a civilian on Team 7, another civilian, so 2 civilians with, what's his name, Sasuke, and that Naruto had agreed that he would, or she would, now that leave Anbu at the age of 12. When she turned 12, though Husuna told her at her 12th birthday that she'd continue to be in Anbu for just a somewhat couple more months due to the fact the genin exams were coming up, and that maybe she could help out with one of the Jonin senseis to get a somewhat good idea on what it's like to somewhat be a Jonin sensei, or yeah. So I want you guys to decide which Anbu what if you'd like. Also, that one I just said, the second option is, well, both would be like and kind of smart Naruto, though the second one would be, the first one is, right, Naruto is pretty much kind of not really his goofy self, and that obviously that's more of a mask that Naruto would be put on with Team 7, whereas the second one would still have Naruto with his or her now somewhat goofy self, though would overall be smarter and a lot stronger, but would still very much be obviously his goofy, slightly kind of dumb self when not exactly thinking through properly. Anyway, let's get into the what if you've all come here for, hopefully. And yeah. Anyway, so a year would go by, and well, during that year, of course, a month after I had joined Konoha, Yuga had left, though before she had somewhat left, she gave me a cat plush cat teddy bear plush to sleep with, as I myself in real life do sleep with a not teddy bear, but stuffed dog plush. And anyway, not really important. Naruto, well, not Naruto, and yeah, of course, after she'd left, I had managed to, with her gone, I could now start learning proper Uzumaki Genjutsu. After all, I'm a full-blooded Uzumaki, probably the last one, though I very much know at the time that there's Karine, possibly her mum, but she's possibly dead. If not, then yeah, but obviously I couldn't exactly tell them, oh yeah, there's another there's another full-blooded Uzumaki out there over the at this place, and tell them, and yet when his Anbu would obviously meet up with them and tell them and give my name to her, she'd have no idea who I am. So yeah, worth not speaking about other possible Anbu that I may know from watching the series already. Anyway, well, yeah, so I'd just obviously learned Uzumaki Genjutsu. Though another thing I wanted to somewhat step into, which was elemental ninjutsu, though I'm not known my nature affinity, don't exactly know, though I have an idea on how to figure it out, though there's probably the better direction of just going straight to the old man and asking him and seeing what he'll do, and seeing if I can get Naruto and obviously him to agree to so that Naruto obviously can know his one as well and start training in it. And yeah, that would somewhat sum it up anyway. Though now to current time, I'd be in the office as I'd go Oh, hey, old man. I was somewhat wondering if, you say could show me, if, you could say, do the, nature affinity test, so that I know what affinity I have, so I can start training in it, as using it go and why would you and why do you want to start learning your nature affinity? You're still young. It's like, yeah, I'm maybe young, old man, but I'm not getting any younger. And that the sooner I start, the better off I am in the future. Plus, obviously, those clans that are training in their children my age, training with their clan in their clan techniques. I'm only asking you to reveal to me my my nature affinity, and that's all. That's not hard for you to do. Plus, that's not showing favoritism to anyone. I should go. Well, you'd go. Well, I can't, as I'd go. Why can't you? There's a clan. There's what dude here. He's what 6, 7 years old, and he's a man. He's got fire. He's learning his clan techniques of fire style, and that would be some prejudice, sexist even. As obviously you're letting him train in elemental affinity, and yet you're not letting me. I can go to the time you and tell him this, and he probably won't be happy with you, as he's somewhat pale, and all the somewhat gals in the room, really only being one or two with the glow at hearers, and as he's would somewhat sigh. I'd forced him into that corner, as he'd look at me as he'd go, "You really want to learn your affinity, don't you?" Well, yeah, it's only an affinity after all. And if you don't show me what mine is, I'm still going to train in elemental affinity. I'll just train in all of them. So, you either somewhat show me what my affinity is now, or I pretty much learn all 5 basic affinities, which I'm still going to do. Old man. It's just, I won't say I'd be more focused in my main affinities, and once I'm comfortable with them, I'll then move on to the other elements. Here's a mid-silent go, fine as I'd go, yeah, okay. Just let me go and grab Naruto real quick, and you can then do it as you'd somewhat sigh and go, okay, as you'd then blink. Wait, I never, though. By the time he looked up, I was already gone to go and fetch Naruto, as he'd sigh. He walked into that one. Yeah, and the Ambu would be somewhat surprised I'd managed to corner him into agreeing, into pretty much allowing me to learn elemental ninjutsu, while I was so very much rid of. It's just without his knowledge. And I'd managed to also get him to agree to showing what Naruto's one was. Because why not? Because if anyone would try and obviously something, obviously who's good then point out that he didn't just show me, but also showed Naruto's one as well, and that he wasn't playing favoritism. And that if anyone else had asked, then he would have done it, but nobody else did. So, yeah, though Husum would probably never realise it until a situation like that would come forth. Anyway, but, well, a couple minutes later, and I'd be coming back with Naruto, as Naruto would somewhat be curious on why the old man would somewhat want him, as he'd somewhat go, well, now that you two are here, take this as, give me Naruto a piece of paper, though of course it's chakra conductive paper, and Naruto would go, huh, what's this, old man? As Husum would go, this Naruto is chakra conductive paper. When you channel chakra into it, it will reveal your elemental nature. Your elemental nature, nature affinities. There are 5 basic nature affinities: wind, earth, water, fire, and lightning. So, as Naruto go, if I have a affinity thingy, I could spit fire. Well, Husum would go, well, yes and no. Yes, that you could, but also no, because you don't know how to. And for a second, you don't need to have an affinity to an element to do a jutsu in that element. You just need to have enough control over a certain element to do a jutsu within that element. So, say that I've got, say my affinity is fire, and I'm trying to learn something in water, and say my affinity is fire, and I want to learn water jutsu. Firstly, I'd have to learn how to control water, the water chakra nature, water chakra. And once I've learned how to convert my chakra into that and control it, I can then start using that water chakra to do water-based jutsus. So like how fire-based jutsus require fire-based chakra, and that all affinities do is just pretty much accelerate the time. It doesn't give you any late end benefits, just early game benefits, but none late game. Early game, you can learn, if you have wind, you can learn wind jutsus easier, faster than you would fire, earth, water, or lightning. Understand that? As you'd go, I think so. And Husum would just look at me as he'd go, you've already read up on this, haven't you? As I'd go, yep, I just wanted to know what my affinity was. And so Husum would just sigh. And somewhat realised, yeah. Anyway, he'd then say, channel chakra into it, and then I'll tell you what the outcome meant for you. And, Naruto would go first to channel chakra into it, and it would split in half, as Husum would somewhat smile and go, you've got a wind affinity nature, Naruto. As Naruto go, huh? Is that strong? As Husum would think for a minute, as he'd go, it can be dry, which it's good and bad. Rare, good because you're not really going to be facing any other same elemental, same people with the same affinity as you, but bad because there's very little jutsus around said affinity. That'd go though. Don't worry. You can obviously. It just means that obviously, you can make your own jutsus in wind. As Naruto would somewhat just nod, and I'd go, though remember you can learn stuff in fire, earth, water and lightning if you want to, though. Yeah, you should at least learn maybe a jutsu or two in wind before trying to learn either fire, earth, water or lightning. Though I'd suggest looking for a sensei in one of those. Naruto would somewhat nod as he would then look at me as I would then channel chakra into my piece of paper as it would split and get wet both at the same time as he would go, oh, you've got two, wind and water. That's interesting. As I'd go, how's it interesting? Uzumaki, didn't they live on an island? As Susan would nod and go, well, I'm guessing the water is probably, well, yeah. Well, the wind affinity, well, yeah, Uzumaki's, I would somewhat think, probably had a decent amount of wind and water jutsus. I wonder, I haven't exactly looked in the library for any elemental jutsu set, but surely they'd have some, I'd think so. Oh, well, I guess I can check afterwards. Though, here's one go, now that you two know your affinities, the first step to win for both of you would be to slice a leaf in half. As me and Naruto would just both nod, and I'd go, and what's the first step for water with me? As it'd go, you have to try and pull water out of a leaf, and I would just nod at that. And with that, we would then somewhat leave. As, well, I'd go, well, Naruto, what are you going to do? Are you going to somewhat train, or are you not, or are you going to train, or are you going to just do a prank or that? Naruto would somewhat think before going, I guess I will train for a bit. What about you, Ruby-chan? Well, I'm gonna more or less train, though, like I always do every day. If I'm not in the academy, then I'm training. Naruto would somewhat just nod, and we'd head towards a vacant training ground. Once we'd arrive, I'd then somewhat we'd grab a leaf and we'd sit down, and we'd then put our hands together, already known from Naruto how to imagine the wind cutting the leaf, and that you must imagine the wind grinding together, sharpening both of them like a grindstone, sharpening it to a fine point. And yeah, though Naruto wouldn't have such as, of course, a great idea on how to, so yeah, and a couple of hours would go by as I'd get around to one quarter of the leaf done, and Naruto, seeing that I've gotten some distant, and the leaf would ask me, ask me for help, as he'd go, hey, Ruby-chan, as I'd go, yeah, Naruto, how can I help you? Um, how have you managed to cut the leaf? I'm trying to, but I've got nowhere. So I'd think for a minute before going, well, I'm somewhat imagining say, my chakra grinding together against one another. Like, say, when grinding against each other, making it sharper. And then after that, channeling it to the leaf and, well, yeah. Say, say, in the middle, like, when you're grinding the chakra together, the leaf's in the middle of that, so it cuts through the leaf. Is not go, okay. Thanks, Ruby-chan. As you then get back to it with more enthusiasm, though by the end of the day I had gotten it down to 1/3 of the way through, whilst Naruto only got to 1/7 of the way through the leaf, though. Hey, as Naruto would somewhat look down as he'd go, oh, you've got a bigger cut than mine. As I'd shrug and go, well, we're both doing great. As Naruto would look at me and go, what do you mean? Well, Naruto can this somewhat level is this, well, elemental ninjutsu is tuning to joining Naruto, so we really shouldn't be doing it right now, so it shows just how much chakra we've got. And yeah, and of course, I can't really think right now. With that though, me and Naruto would go our separate ways, as he'd go to pretty much Ichiraki Ramen to have his dinner, whilst I'd go home and cook mine, as well. Naruto would obviously be ramen loving. I'm not going to change that. Yeah. And whilst I'd occasionally invite him round, he very much hasn't really bothered to somewhat change, and I'm not going to force him to change his eating habits. Yeah. And so, yeah, after that, a couple of years would go by as Naruto had tried graduating twice and had failed. This would be his third time, though. At this, though, both me and Naruto have struggled with doing the clone jutsu, which is somewhat confused Iruka, as we're both obviously being Uzumaki's. Both obviously having, though I know the reason why, which is due to the fact we both have very high chakra reserves. Naruto being half and being full, though Naruto being half and being being half Jinchuriki. Yeah, having half the 9-tailed fox had meant he'd be rivaling. Well, he'd somewhat actually have, to a somewhat odd degree, smaller reserves than I would, as well as Naruto hasn't exactly trained much throughout the years, besides from trying to practice his hardest in doing the clone, obviously jutsu, that's what he failed on, so he'd keep on trying to do that instead of trying to truly figure out why instead he'd somewhat, or tried looking for another jutsu, because, yeah, because I know that is probably only once, of course, I can say pass with doing a water clone, or either a water clone, earth clone, lightning clone, or fire clone, or heck, even a wind clone. Yeah, I don't think. Well, yeah, though it'd mean I would pass and Naruto would fail, and because I want Naruto to pass, so I'd go to Harrison a week before a day or two before the actual exams. I would go hailed. I would enter and go hailed my noses and would look and go, hey Ruby-chan, how have you been doing? I haven't seen you in a while. So I'd go, I'm doing good, though there's something I wanted to ask you about. I should go, oh, God, then, as you know, due to the fact I'm an Uzumaki, I have large chakra reserves, right? As you go, yeah, which means, pretty much, if I tried, whereas I have my own, other means to pass in the clone jutsu, because I can't do it for the life of me. With doing all my training and that, I've got well and truly, heck, even I've got more chakra than Naruto does, and Naruto's the 9,000 Cherokee, which Uzuma just somewhat nod. And go, though what you get to Naruto, I can use elemental of the elemental clones to pass. Naruto can't. And whilst I'm pretty sure you don't want you probably don't want a clone of fire or like something, probably don't exactly want an elemental jutsu going off in a classroom. So I was somewhat wondering if me and Naruto could learn a different clone jutsu, if there is one, because I know there's one, but I'm not going to hint at it. As someone would think about it and would go, so though, is this mainly you or for Naruto? Well, I guess for both of us, though mainly for Naruto. Though if you only wish to give it to Naruto, then by all means only give it to Naruto. I can use, as I said, I can use either a wind, fire, earth, water, or lightning clone to pass the clone portion, which is the only portion I would fail at. Down to some thinking that go, wait, but you shouldn't fail at, you shouldn't have failed. Then that doesn't mean you'd fail. As I go, well, that's strange. Naruto's only failed at that portion, and his transformation and replacement and his kunai throwing and on his written test are high enough to cover up for the failing clone jutsu, but he's always been failed. He's gonna go, you sure? I go, I make sure, whilst he may somewhat act stupid, I at least make sure he has some general knowledge about maths and about Shinobi history and that, so he can get past that. And he's gonna go, well, that's somewhat troubling, as I'd go, and obviously it's somewhat too late to change the curriculum now, or look into it, and if you start to, well, you're gonna have to push back the Genin exams, or give me Naruto, or just Naruto, a different way around that slight issue. And of course they may fail me because I'm using an elemental affinity, well, an elemental clone instead of another, like a different type of clone. I don't know, as who's in somewhat sigh. Because he'd really think he wouldn't exactly think that they would fail me, but with Naruto though, there's probably a high chance that they would, considering Naruto said twice, and if this is correct, he's only failed on the clone jutsu, then, well, yeah, and obviously, due to the fact, well, yeah, he would just somewhat end up sighing and go, well, he would go, Tiger, Tiger, go fetch Naruto for me and bring him here immediately. Tiger would fall to the ground and go, hi Hokage-sama, before disappearing. A couple seconds later, he'd reappear. And Naruto go, you, wanted me, GG? He did, Naruto, and don't worry, you're not in trouble. Actually, Ruby here has brought up a kind of troubling thing, so I wanted to confirm it with you. And so here is he'd pull out a piece of paper and Naruto would go, huh, what's that? It's a test paper. It's not the test that you'd be taking as a genin, as that's different every year. As you know, failing twice, as Naruto somewhat looked down. His I didn't mean it by anything bad. Naruto, as I'd look at him and go, well, then you shouldn't have mentioned it in the first place. You should have realised, think before you speak. Someone would just look at me and somewhat sigh. As he would go, well, do this, Naruto, and, well, yeah, as Naruto would just be confused as he was I want to see, I'm gonna do some own version of a genin exams. You won't become a genin by passing it, but if you do pass this one and you fail that one, then I know they have definitely pretty much done treason. And whilst obviously, and I can very much just put this test in instead of saying going by that one, and you'd be still very much a genin. It's just you would have passed via my test instead of theirs. And if anyone tries arguing that, obviously I have playing favourites, Ruby Seer, and plus obviously it showed that, and while that they were being treasonous, one of them or both of them were being committing treason by doing such a thing. Naruto would just go, okay. As well, 3-4 hours would go by with Naruto. Well, an hour would go by as Naruto would finish writing the test, as Susan would somewhat be kind of surprised. He'd surprise and get around 60% of the test actually, well, of the answers right, which Naruto, or at least on the other two, from what he could remember seeing, glancing at them, had barely gotten any of them right, which meant obviously they were somewhat wrong. And you then do a kunai shuriken test, as Naruto would get, well, 7 out of 10 of them bullseye, and then 7 out of 10 kunai, and then 6 out of 10 shuriken. His mid somewhat nod and would write down a pass, and would then do the jutsu, which Naruto would pass the replacement and transformation, but would fail the clone. And Naruto and Hiruzen would write overall pass, and yeah, Hiruzen would then somewhat, and Naruto goes, so what now, GG? Well, I'm gonna give, well, you and Ruby here a new jutsu. Oh? Really? Hi. Though it may not seem that exciting, but it has it's quite decent. As it's called, here, read it yourself, as he'd pull out two the same scrolls, give one to me and one to Naruto, as Naruto would read out loud as he'd go, really, it's just, shadow clone jutsu, another clone jutsu, GG, really? Naruto, don't just read the title. He'd somewhat just sigh as he'd open up the scroll, as he'd go, what? These are, I could touch them? Well, yes, you can touch them, and they can also think on their own. Meaning that they could, say, use any jutsu you know of, Natuka. Oh, that's cool. Awesome, GG, thank you. As Naruto would jump over the desk and would cuddle Hiruzen. Hiruzen would just nod, as I would then just say, thanks for the jutsu, old man. Hiruzen would just say it was no problem, and we'd both somewhat leave him. Though Hiruzen had then got a sneaky suspicion that I may have known of a jutsu like this somewhat jutsu, and was hinting at it, or like at the time. And now he's looking back at it, he'd realise I somewhat was, and that, well, it wouldn't exactly bother him, as there was obviously many chances of that, considering I'm very much an active training student, and I'm somewhat considered which somewhat always threw him through the loop anytime Iruka would come and tell him of the progress of his class, which all teachers did, and that I was generally always in the middle of the class, and always threw him through the loop, because I was somewhat, obviously, with me knowing how to do elemental jutsu, I should be a lot higher in the class, and especially how I can understand how chakra flows, and by the atomic level, I should be a lot higher up. Then it clicked to it, then he'd realised that obviously it's an academy, a ninja academy. The aspect of a ninja is meant to be underestimation, and that foremost genin, or newly minted genin, being considered either around the middle, would generally get me somewhat, the people at the top would somewhat look down upon me, and any arrogant people at the bottom would also look down on me, and even more as, well, I'm a gal. And yeah, which obviously I was somewhat very much using this stereotype, while I was somewhat very much staying in the middle, and just letting them, obviously having the head that the stereotype of Garrus not being stronger is meant to reign true up until he somewhat realised, up until probably if my team, whatever team I'm placed on, does pass the true genin test, and that we're put in for the tuning exams, then everyone would probably be, who's somewhat then realising that everyone would truly meet the true me, the one that is very much understands chakra to an insane degree, whilst obviously I may not have, I've got somewhat, yes, too much chakra to actually do the clone jutsu, even with my understanding on and my somewhat absolute control over chakra. And still, funny enough, somehow just can't do it. Which, well, wouldn't exactly bother me because it's only an illusion, and I'm not exactly looking to really do genjutsu anytime soon. So, pulling off illusions can be handful, but having an illusionary clone of myself isn't going to help exactly, especially as most ninjas are going to probably try and, at the very least, try and touch you indirectly to see if you're real, and if their hand or part of their body passes right through you, the genjutsu is immediately dispelled. So yes, better to have something like a physical clone, like the Shadow clone or one of the elemental clones. Though note, he doesn't know that I've made a fire or wind clone, as they're somewhat being considered almost impossible to do due to the fact of that kind of nature. Fire being a plasma, well, so somewhat lightning in a way. Lightning, yeah, or at least the lightning that we see is just plasma. Yeah, as the electrons shoot through the air, it superheats the air, creating a plasma, which is what we see. So, in reality, we've never actually seen the true form of what we call lightning, as what we call lightning is just plasma. Anyway, yeah. And of course, like fire being obviously a plasma and always requiring constant chakras was hard to do, but eventually I'd figured out how to somewhat make a link to my chakra, so that the kind of core of the jutsu, the core of the fire, would always constantly generate more fire, and it would somewhat link to my chakra. Thus, it was always keeping itself running and always generating new obviously flame. And the second I'd somewhat dispel the jutsu, it would immediately go into a giant fireball or whatever its shape originally was. Either like I'd done say Fire Dragon and turned that into a clone of myself, then once released it would be a Fire Dragon again. So yeah, I was changing the shape of it and linking it into my chakra network so that it didn't run out of chakra and dispel. And with wind, it was just condensing wind hard, like enough somewhat wind hard enough to start making an outline, and then throwing over that condensed wind and hard somewhat shell, at least. Anyway, then of course when wind would dispel, of course the benefit of having say either wind or lightning, having wind dispel would cut the person, lightning would electrocute them, fire would burn them, earth would just turn to earth, and water would obviously just turn back to water and fall to the ground. So really, wind, fire and lightning were kind of somewhat dangerous, though lightning would be more dangerous, though lightning was somewhat the more dangerous, as obviously it was electrons. It would immediately stop your heart if there's high enough lightning chakra in the clone. Yeah, anyway. Of course, with that, me and Naruto would, me and Naruto would Naruto would get the clone within an hour, or master it within an hour, getting it down to one hand sign. In the same amount of time, and get it done to using none of my hands, as I obviously know that it'd be better to be able to use a physical clone like the shadow clone without needing to do any hand signs, because if your hands get bound up, it would be very much good to be able to make a clone of yourself and cut the bindings close in your hands, so that you can then use maybe some other jutsus that you can't use, that you require either hand signs for, or maybe a hand to use, as some jutsus, mainly fire-based jutsus, or some lightning-based jutsus, require a hand or both hands to use them. Whereas Earth doesn't really require. Well, no, Earth just requires you to only either hit or somewhat get your chakra into the ground to manipulate it. Water and wind are really the only two that don't exactly require any real hand signs to do jutsus. Anyway, me and Naruto, of course, what's his name? Not Iruka. Mizuki would be somewhat angered, as he'd be forced to pass Naruto, though after passing Naruto, I'd go next, and I'd also pass. Which, that I could feel the anger from somewhat Mizuki at Naruto passing, and of course when I'd come back, I'd warn Naruto that Mizuki was up to something, so if he tries getting you to do something bad, like say steal the forbidden scroll or that, don't, and tell the old man about it, as he's trying to get you to do treason. Naruto would somewhat just nod, knowing that I wouldn't lie to him. I've never lied to him, really. And anyway. And lucky for me, I told him, because when we'd left the academy, because when me and Naruto went our separate ways, Mizuki had landed in front of Naruto, and had told Naruto that he could become a Chunin if he stole the forbidden scroll and learned a single jutsu for it. From it, though, Naruto had told Mizuki wasn't that treason. As Mizuki would go, no, Naruto-kun. Whereas any other time it would be not right now, as Naruto would just eye Mizuki, though not I wouldn't exactly obviously tell him that information without a very good idea, and without a very much Naruto would now very much understand that, why I was warning him. So no, he would somewhat just nod and say he'd be there at the time. Mizuki had somewhat just nodded, and when he'd left, of course, he was somewhat happy, as he'd thinking he'd tricked the demon brat into obviously doing something bad. He'd then go to Hiruzen and would tell him Hiruzen exactly what Mizuki just told him, and Hiruzen would be surprised, and he'd also tell him what I told him, which would mean that obviously I could very much possibly even sense negative emotions, or just emotions in general. or I was just that good at reading people. Though it somewhat explained how I could always somewhat manipulate him into giving me what I want. Yeah. Like, it always felt like he was just a plaything anytime I wanted something. And that, yeah. That if I really wanted something badly, I would very much manipulate him in straight away that he would just generally give it to me straight away. Or at least that's what he was thinking, though. If I really wanted something, I would generally just go straight up to him, tell him and the reasons why I want it, and why it would be a good idea to give me what I want and why it wouldn't be. And yeah, anyway, Hiruzen would pretty much actually calling Kakashi and would tell Kakashi to henge into Naruto and to go to the meeting place with a fake forbidden scroll, and would explain to him what's going on. Kakashi would nod and yeah, and of course Kakashi would end up arresting. Instead of arresting, he'd know the Fudakage's law on which anyone that obviously let the information somewhat slip to obviously a ninja would very much get the head chopped, and that's what Misaki would do, thinking that his Naruto would tell him that obviously he was a demon, and which though Naruto would already know, or think he would already know. Yeah, he would already know, because pretty much I was always obviously either hinting or telling Hiruzen. It was pretty much very much obvious I knew. And considering I was still doing Finjutsu, yeah, and and anyway though, time would go. Well, yeah. With that, of course, the next day would roll around, and though Naruto would obviously spend his time with Konohamaru doing the exact same thing that he would in canon, pretty much teaching Konohamaru the Sexy Jutsu, whilst I would simply be just training in some Rinjutsu. I'd be training in trying to mix wind and water together, my two main affinities. Reason why? Well, because I'd remember from obviously canon that Haku obviously had the advanced nature of ice, and the two sub-elements or basic chakra natures of wind and water. Wind and water made ice, so I'm trying to combine them both together. And whilst I got a tiny bit of progress, I was only trying to properly balance out the ratio, getting the best ratio of wind to water, or water to wind, wind to water, water to wind. It would provide the best and fastest outcome of generating ice. Having the worst would say be as slow as maybe a minute, a minute to generate ice, whereas the best outcome could be a second to 2 or 3 seconds, finding the best ratio. And yeah, and that's what I'd spend that time doing. And whilst I wouldn't find it, I was getting somewhat slowly closer and closer. Also, of course, during that time, during the years I'd spent obviously in Naruto World, I'd also awakened the chains, and I'd practiced in them as well. Obviously, I had the knowledge of the Uzu library. Well, not knowledge, I could someone just open a portal, go there and read in either learning, say, the chains and what, or how to obviously better control the chains and that. And that's what I did. And yeah, gonna end it here, guys. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope this isn't too over the place, too confusing. I didn't exactly expect me to do this what if, as it probably has very much come to light. So yes, anyway guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this, and of course tell me if you guys want a part 3 to this, and hopefully if you guys do very much want a part 3, that part 3 would be a more fleshed out. Anyway guys, hope you have a good day or night, stay safe and good bye.